Okay, well, hello and welcome to anyone that might be watching this. This is the TU Dublin Open Day for Media, where we're trying to give you an overall view of what you might encounter and experience when studying media in TU Dublin across 3 campuses. I'm Tyke Pivoy, Head of Creative Media in City Campus. We have with us here Kate Shannon, who's Head of Journalism and Communications, also at City Campus, Deirdre Kennedy, Lecturer in Media Production and Digital Arts in the Tala Campus, and Nicola Duffy, Lecturer in Creative Digital Media in the Blanchardstown Campus. And we also have with us a final year student at the City Campus, Megan O'Brien, as well as a graduate from Tala, Tomas Ferris Meldon, and a graduate from Blanchardstown, Shane Conroy. So to start off, I might go to yourself, Kate, and just ask you if you could give us a flavour of what type of students you generally find are interested in studying media. And obviously there's a lot of courses in media in the City Campus: journalism, film, broadcasting, photography, game studies. But maybe give us a broad general idea of what type of student tends to be in the school there.
I suppose if I was to look at the characteristics that combine across all the programmes, and I think it's probably the same for Blanchardstown and Tala, they're usually people who are creative, who are inquisitive about the world around them, who are collaborative, because most media now is collaborative. Most of the things we try to do in media involve people working on projects. And I think they're independent also in that they're independent-minded. They're critical thinkers. And I think a lot of the time they're actually great fun. As lecturers, we enjoy our students, and now, with COVID, not being able to be directly in contact with them, doing everything online, I think we've all realised how much we miss our students and how much they give us back. We're very small numbers in all of our courses, I think, across all 3 campuses, so people get a lot of individual attention, which is very important. Media is sort of the future. I think that there will be very few things without media. And also, media is the critical part of the future, because we're looking at the decisions our leaders make. We're looking at how our society progresses. We're casting an eye on that, but also based on what has gone before us. It's probably the most exciting time ever to be working in media, whatever form that it takes.
Very good. I might throw the same question then to Nicola as well, in terms of, I suppose, well, what type of students would be drawn to your course normally, traditionally, and what type of skill sets and what interests?
We get a lot of students, I suppose, that come straight from secondary school, and that, as Kate said, they're very inquisitive and extremely creative when they're even when first year when we meet them, and they're great. They've got great team and camaraderie. They're really good team players, and yeah, they're very passionate about. They're very inquisitive and very passionate about learning, which is brilliant. And they're fun. They're fun. We get a lot of students that aren't quite sure of what path they're going to go in creative digital media. So the great thing is there's a real good flavour in first year of where they can learn the skills and then decide, this is the route that I'm going to take in third year and fourth year. So whenever they're going to the fourth year, they sort of specialise with their final year project in a particular area that they want to get into. So just going back to your question, yeah, they're very, very creative and very inquisitive and great fun, and we get a great mix of students, and it's just seeing that friendship that's built all the way through, right through to fourth year is lovely. There's a real camaraderie amongst the students because they all share the same passion, and it's to work in the industry that they've chosen, the creative industry, which is lovely.
Very good. And I'm going to go over to yourself, Deirdre, now, just to bring you in. What would you say the typical type of skills a student would gain from studying media production and digital arts would be?
We deliberately keep the set of skills really varied and broad in first year and second year. And I think that would be the same across the board, because the idea is that you get a taste of film and video, television, you get a taste of graphic design and multimedia, you get visual effects, you get a taste of 2D and 3D animation, and then you start to specialize. Just like Nicola said, you start to specialize in third year and fourth year. So you choose your subjects based on your preferences. You don't need to come in first year with any particular set of preferences or any particular set of skills, because we assume that as long as you're interested in making, creating and designing, that you will learn the skills with us in a studio-based settings with small classes, just like Kate mentioned. So you need to be really interested in creating stuff, because it's 70% practice and 30% theory. You will critically examine the media and society and technology as well, and that's a very important part of it. You know, it's a degree program, so you know, there's a dissertation at the end of it. So your critical thinking skills are hugely important as well, but they are developed from first year media studies onwards.
Very good. And in terms of, Deirdre, I'll stick with you for the minute. In terms of the different career sectors, I suppose, that your course would feed into, what would they be?
Again, what looking at graduates and the success of graduates, I suppose, I'm always genuinely surprised at the breadth of areas in which they go into work. They work in the gallery of photography. We have one student working as a senior compositor in George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic. RTE, obviously, TV3, radio is a really big passion for some students. And then, of course, remember that the general industry, you know, all the industries outside of the creative and cultural industries need media professionals and people with these skills. So you'll sometimes see people getting a job in SAP or air and so on with the skills they've kind of gained. So there's no specific career trajectory, but it's very varied. You leave, I suppose the key point is you leave with a really comprehensive portfolio of work. So you can show a prospective employer what you can do rather than just tell them that you have these skills. You have a portfolio which really showcases your set of skills.
Nicola, same question for you. Would it be similar in terms of the career scope for graduates in the creative digital media course?
There's such an array of when the graduates are coming out there. We have students that are working in film, television. We've students in graphic design. We've students that are going in as broad designers into companies as well. So they're web designers and graphic designers. And we have Shane here, who's from the Blanchardstown campus. He's just gained employment in UX and UI in quite a large corporation. So we have a very varied, our graduates are very varied in the jobs that they go into, and they're very successful in what they do, and they're pursuing, and they're very passionate when they are coming out in fourth year, that they are very, very set in where they want to get into. And we prepare them for that in third and fourth year. We prepare them with their portfolio, to have a broad portfolio whenever they're going in. And again, as I say, in the fourth year, they do their final year project based on the industry that they want to get into. So they've got a very strong portfolio coming out. So back to your question, it's very varied. We see a lot of designers, graphic designers, web designers, UI, UX designers, film and television. Yeah, so it's very varied.
Fair enough. In terms of drawing it back into the period of time that the students are studying in TU Dublin, Kate, Erasmus is an option for students. You might, which is obviously a study abroad program in Europe. You might just tell the viewers what exactly that involves and the experience students will get in that.
Yeah, the Erasmus is a very important part of all of our programs, I think, because it gives the students the opportunity to work in a different country, to study a whole new way of looking at media, because they're getting it from a completely different perspective. We have students going to Europe, to Holland, Germany, Denmark, Finland. We also have students going to Chicago and Florida in the US, as well as New York. I think what's important when they do go away is that we're not so hardline as some universities are on what you pick when you go away. What we want you to do is have the best experience. So we're looking at the facilities that you will find when you're in another country, but also the cultural experiences that you're going to obtain over there. Most of our students come back with really high results from Erasmus, which we're very proud of. And I think that's because they're used to teamwork, they're used to being independent, and they're used to being self-starters, all of the kind of characteristics the employers are looking for. So they come back back often having gotten A or A pluses when they're outside of Ireland. And when I always say to them, my God, you've done fantastically well. You're obviously all geniuses. And what they say to me is, we're actually very used to being quite independent, because the whole thing about that mixture of practice and theory is that it makes you have to do an awful lot of stuff on your own. And when employers come later looking for people, they want people with good communication skills, people who are self-starters, people who are collaborative and who are problem solvers. And all of those things come into play. When people come back from Erasmus or their exchanges, what we find is that they're also bringing us stuff, because they're coming back, maybe having seen TV studios operating differently in the States, or having seen editing suites being used maybe 24 hours a day in France, the kind of things that we probably haven't looked at. And then we start to integrate them into our programs as well, because we're taking feedback from their experiences outside of Ireland.
Very good. In terms then, sticking with the idea of being abroad, Deirdre, the course would obviously open up a lot of options for career routes not in Ireland as well. That'd be correct, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Canada has become a real draw for some of our students. I think the industries there really provide wonderful opportunities for graduates from the programs. So obviously the States, yeah, a number of different areas, because the skills are infinitely transferable. And because we work even in emerging media technologies, they can work in AR and VR as well.
Very good. A hugely developing area of the media. Kate, I'll just jump back to you then. Again, one of the aspects that's very important in media is teamwork, and that plays a huge part in all the media courses really in the city campus.
Yeah, well, from I suppose week one of being in college in city campus, you're going to have to start working with other people, because you're using equipment, you're learning how to go out and do stories. If you're in journalism, you're developing a game. If you're in game studies, you're going out and you may be starting your first photographic portfolio if you're doing photography. So working in a team in second, third and fourth year then becomes even more intense, because you're working across a lot of different projects. You're making small films, you're making drama, you're developing some sort of critical skills in terms of game studies. You might have a display of the kind of games you're developing. Also in photography, you're looking at your own work critically. So you're working with other people who are also, giving you ideas as well, in teams. We find in particular that in second year, that becomes a really big part of the work that we're doing, because in working in the teams, students are adopting leadership roles. Like, we allow our students elect their own editors, for example, which I know colleagues in other universities were quite surprised by that in an in-class situation, whatever about, outside of class and student publications. But we've never been let down yet. Students always know who are the people that they trust most in a class. The other thing we like them to do is, I suppose, to develop their ideas in a way in a team in which they're being challenged by other people, learning to maybe work late at night with somebody, because that often happens in media. So, an editor is looking at a story that comes in from you maybe at 10 o'clock at night, and they're responding to you and sending you a text, and you're coming back and arguing your case, making sure that what I'm doing is the right thing to do. If you're going out in a shoot, knowing that everybody in the shoot is equally important. It's not just about the producer, it's not just about the director's vision. It's about the fact that as a team, you create something which is far, far bigger than you can do as an individual. And I think what's lovely is at the end of our time in TU Dublin, our students continue to be together. I see them all coming up on Twitter. In some cases, they form relationships with each other. But most importantly, I can maybe 5 or 6 years from now walk down the street in Dublin, as has happened to me recently and before COVID, and there was a group of students all dressed up heading to the wedding of somebody in their class, which I thought was absolutely lovely, that connection has remained the same, because we're not just students, we're colleagues for life, I feel.
I'm going to jump over to the students now and get their perspective on things. Megan, I've actually lectured you in the past, so we know each other well enough. You might just tell everyone watching why you chose to study journalism at the city campus. What sort of drew you to the course?
Yeah, so I actually did a year in a different course before I went into journalism, and I think it's a thing that students in secondary school, you're kind of expected to know what you want coming out. And and I obviously picked wrong. And so then after that year, when I decided to leave, I had to actually think about what I'm actually interested in, and ask myself seriously, what do I enjoy doing and where my strengths are. And I just realized I am kind of curious about people. I love a good story. I love writing as well, although that's not just what journalism is anymore. And I did love, creative multimedia as well. So I enjoyed the idea of, kind of making videos, audio, and all of that. But I wanted the writing aspect as well. So the journalism course then kind of seemed perfect to me. And the more I looked into it, I realized it was right for me, and I went into it. But I quickly realized then when I got in that it's very much the kind of course that you'll get out of it what you put in. That whole idea, I think, of you reap what you sow. As Kate said, there is a big element of teamwork in it. And you have to do your fair share, otherwise you may not get the rewards. But when you really get involved and jump in, I've gotten huge rewards out of the course, and I've learned a lot. So it was definitely the right course for me. Albeit that it took me a while to figure that out.
That's fair enough. Things take a while sometimes. In terms of what a daily schedule might look like for you, Megan, just to let people know who might be considering the course, just give us a brief run through of what it might be like in terms of lectures and study, and what it would be like for you.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things for me, obviously you go in the morning and you have your lectures. It's really not just about the lectures. Obviously, all courses requires you have to put time in yourself outside of the classroom. But I think with journalism and media, you do have to do a good bit of that. So while people might look at the course and think, oh, there's not a huge amount of lecture time, you will be working outside of that too. So you have to kind of commit to that as well. But so I would typically be going in to my lectures, and one of the huge things about the lectures is that they're so collaborative. For example, take Tig's class there last year, which was online and mobile journalism. It wasn't really you just talking to us, Tig. It was constantly questions going back and forth, and then someone might pipe up from the other side of the room and say, no, you're wrong. I think this is how it is. And it's very much a kind of back and forth and give and take, and then you kind of take other people's ideas on board. So it's totally not that structure of the classroom in secondary school where the teachers at the top and you're sitting down and you just listen and they're right, you're wrong kind of thing. It's not like that at all. And like I found that going into college, I really appreciated that we were essentially all equals here, even though there is a leader of the class. It's everybody listens to everyone's opinions, which is really nice. So it's really nice in the lectures like that, very collaborative. And then there's a huge amount of other things to get involved in outside of the classroom as well. And you will have projects ongoing, as Kate mentioned there again. Things sometimes do go on late into the evening, and that's just part of the process. But you actually get really close with your classmates and stuff through doing that. It's a small enough course anyway, but from working together on projects like that, you will get close to people, and there's a lot of social aspects and things like that as well. So typical day would be lectures and putting in your own bit of work outside, but also having a bit of fun as well.
Very good, very good. Shane, I might jump across to you and kind of focus in specifically on what you to do in creative digital media. Someone who's kind of got that course in mind, they think it's the one for them. Why did you do it, and why? Maybe there'll be some link ups for someone watching now.
Yeah, so I suppose in secondary school, I probably had the typical path of everyone else, and I was kind of confused of what I wanted to do. But my guidance counselor at the time told me to look kind of inwards and kind of see what interests I had. And I loved video editing back then. I was learning how to code as well. So I was trying to combine those two kind of interests I had and actually go to a college course that would suit me. So I did art in school as well. So when I started to kind of look at courses, I did creative digital media course. So that had everything that I could imagine or anything that I could want, because it had design, it had web design, video editing, audio editing. So not only did it have what I was interested in, it had other things that sparked my interest. So I think it was an immediate. I immediately put it down on my CAO when I seen the course.
Great. Tomas, I might ask the same question to you then as well. What you drew you to the course? And I think the courses might have changed slightly in structure and name in the interim, but largely the same. So you might just tell us what drew you to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I did quite well in my leaving cert, and I remember talking to my mammy, who told me at the time you should follow your attitude and not your aptitude. So I was thinking about doing something completely unrelated to media. It might have been science, which I always thought was a little bit boring. But I had been making YouTube videos since I was 14. And I had always been incredibly interested in media, and they could never get me to stop talking about my film and TV opinions. So as to why Tala specifically, Deirdre mentioned this earlier, but the broadness of the course is extremely appealing. Like, if you know that you're interested in media, but you're not sure if you want to be an academic, or if you want to do TV or photography, or even something in audio or multimedia, it's a great place to go to. And it turned out that that was what employers like to see as well. Like, they expect you to be able to do massive amounts of things, and it's very attractive on a CV. And I remember thinking that it was like the course was built for me. Like, if I was allowed to construct a course that I could do for fun, it was like that. I thought it was amazing.
And of all those various aspects, what was the part that you liked the most? What were you most drawn to when you were studying there?
That is an incredibly tough question. God, I remember.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, fourth year multimedia was amazing, and I still think about that all the time. And then whenever I end up chatting to people in work about like what I was doing during that last year, they're like, "Wow, that is incredibly impressive." One of the things involved us doing an exhibition in the Tate Modern, and people will go, "Wow." Probably fourth year multimedia, or I miss writing essays, which seems bizarre given how stressed I was to get them in occasionally. But those opinions are still building up over time, and I just have nowhere to put them. So I miss learning new things and writing essays, but also media production as well was amazing.
Okay, and Shane, just to jump over to you again,
yeah.
What would you say your highlight was in terms of your time studying media at TU Dublin?
I think so. I went into the course expecting to really focus on video, because I had an interest and similar. I used to make YouTube videos, and I thought I'd come in being the next kind of Spielberg. But as I got into the course, kind of web development really took my interest. And then design took my interest. And as the ball kept rolling, I realized that the medium doesn't really matter. It's kind of the critical skills, the thinking skills, design principles that you pick up, and then you can apply that to really any medium. So then towards fourth year, as I got there, I really loved still app design, web design. And in CDM, there was a UX module. So that's what I found really interesting. And then that set me up then for leaving. So I really focused on that, and I started to kind of build a portfolio around that as well. And then my final year project, that was great. That was I kind of made an interactive children's game. So that was an app. So I was able to put all the skills I learned into this one app. So yeah, I suppose the variety is extremely interesting, but how you can apply those skills to any medium is really, really interesting. And I actually apply that skill to work every day now.
Can you tell everyone watching what exactly you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm a UX designer at the moment, and so I design like user interfaces. You do UX research and stuff to actually designing products and apps. So those 4 years combined of the multidisciplinary really helped me now So it's very valuable, yeah.
Great. Tomas, same for your question for yourself as well, actually. Can you let everyone know what you're up to now since graduating?
I am a motion graphics designer and a couple of other things at a company called Focal Media. We make digital signage and digital solutions. We work with a couple of alcohol brands. We work with Tesco, Heineken. We're getting into a deal with Smooch ice cream at the moment, and I would do designs for all of those companies. And I also maintain digital signage networks and make signage scripts and interactive scripts as well. Very
good. Megan, you're going to graduate, all going well, this time next year. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed. What do you hope to do when in terms of your next step? What are you hoping is going to happen for you next with the skills that you've picked up in TU Dublin?
Yeah, so I think I think everybody has mentioned it by now that the courses are so broad, so you really do pick up a wide variety of skills. So I feel that, between writing, editing, filming, pitching, and just general teamwork and everything, my skill set is really actually so transferable. So it's you could really apply it to a lot of different areas. But for me personally, I would like to stay in the journalism industry. I know a lot of people that do this course go on into different areas. Some go into, things like PR, marketing, lots of different things. But I would like to stay in the journalism industry, and I always thought I was going to be a print journalist and I was going to, take care of the written word. But actually, I have found that I really enjoy the whole kind of multimedia side of it, creating short videos, audio packages, and things like that. And I have gotten the chance to do that throughout the course, and learn more about that, because there's so much more behind it. It's not just at face value. There's a lot that goes into it. So it's been really interesting to learn about that and actually discover that I was really into that. So hopefully I will, this time, the typical question, where do you see yourself in 5 years or whatever it is? Hopefully.
That was on my list of questions. I didn't actually ask it though.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of a changing sphere, I guess, the media industry, but there, is definitely opportunity. So I would like to stay in that sphere if I could, of creative multimedia and journalism. So yeah, hopefully I'll still be in that point, but I don't know for sure where I'll be. Hopefully staying there.
Grand. Listen, we're coming pretty close to the end of our slot here, so I might just get the three students in a sentence just to sum up, why they think someone should study media at TU Dublin. Megan, if you want to go first.
Oh God, put me on the spot there.
If something comes to mind.
No pressure.
You're well trained. It's fine.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I just think there is something in it for everyone. I think the courses that TU offer in terms of media are so broad, and there's something in it for everyone. And yeah, there's a huge amount of opportunities in it. So yeah, I would definitely encourage someone that has an interest in the industry to go for it. Yeah.
That was more than a sentence, but
I know.
Tomas, in a sentence.
Okay. Again, maybe a run-on sentence, but you will have tremendous amounts of fun. You will make friends that you will have for the rest of your life. You'll come out with skills that employers really, really want to hire you for. And the amount of toys available to be creative with is absolutely amazing. And I don't regret a single second of my time that I spent there. It was amazing.
Brilliant. And Shane, last but not least, in a sentence if possible.
I'll try. I suppose as a graduate, not only the skills that I've gained from the course, but the friends as well. The friends you gain, the skills you gain, everything is transferable. Everything sticks with you. And I do not regret studying in the 4 years I did there.
Perfect. Thank you all very much. I hope everyone watching found that beneficial. You got something out of it from all of the 6 various different speakers speaking there. There's further information on the TU Dublin website. And thank you all for taking part.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you.